Welcome to Plot Twist, the show where we unpack the unexpected turns that shape our careers, relationships, and ourselves. I'm your host, Tiana, leader, speaker, and corporate mom. And I'm sitting down with guests that prove that growth begins often at the twist of a story. Let's dive in. This episode of Plot Twist is brought to you by Saga Publishing, because sometimes the biggest plot twists don't just happen in life, they happen between the pages of a book. Whether you're into psychological thrillers that keep you up at night, or children's stories that gently remind you what strength really looks like, Saga Publishing curates literary works that meet you exactly where you are. And yes, a few plot twists of my own are on the way. My first children's book, My Mom is a Superhero, which celebrates the triumphs moms pull off in our own supernatural way that are witnessed through the eyes of our children every day. And coming this fall, my self-help memoir, Living in the Black, an unfiltered look at what it means to be an African-American woman navigating identity, ambition, grief, and growth in and out of the workplace. If you're ready for your next read or perspective shift, visit sagapublishing.com and find your next plot twist today. One of the hardest jobs I've ever had is being a mom. And let me tell you something. There's no manual. There's no onboarding packet. There's no standard operating procedures. You don't get a Parenting for Dummies, teen and young adult edition. You just learn on the job. You find your groove, you figure out routines, and then you think, okay, I got this. And then your child turns 15, and suddenly they have opinions, strong ones, loud ones, sometimes confident ones. Confidently wrong, but confident. I would say roughly 15 to 25 age group is such a pivotal stage. They want independence, but they still want guidance. They want freedom, but they still need boundaries. And they think they know everything. And statistically, their frontal lobe says otherwise. My mom used to say something to me that I didn't appreciate at the time. The decisions you make between 18 and 25 will affect you the rest of your life. That's what she said. And she wasn't wrong. Who you date, what you study, how you manage your money, if you have children early or late, if you build discipline, those choices echo. And as parents, we know this, which is why it's so hard to see our children stumble. But the tension point for us internally is we remember how painful our failures were. We remember being broke, heartbroken, embarrassed, stressed. Some of us even say we're a much better parent than our parent was. And some of us had terrible parents, but even an abusive alcoholic parent can teach someone resilience. They can teach you how to duck when someone's hurling a bottle of danger towards you. But too often, our instinct is to step in, to cushion, to pay for it, to fix it, dare I say, baby our kids, to call the teacher, to email the coach, which, by the way, my nephew's high school football coach sat down with all the parents at the start of the new year and said, "Do not email me if your child has a concern." Encourage your children to be the one to start the conversation. Encourage them to schedule a meeting if it's needed, to follow up on their grades so they can play. Hold your young ones accountable. But here's the uncomfortable question. Are we preparing them for life or preventing them from learning it? Failure in a safe environment is essentially training. And one day we won't be there to rescue them. Now that's not morbid, it's reality. So what can we do to prepare them? There's something beautiful about letting your teenager practice adulthood while you're still in arm's reach. Driving, working, managing schedules, negotiating commitments, dating. Let them try. Let them wobble. And if it gets too dangerous, then you step in. But you don't remove every consequence, because consequences, natural ones, positive ones, negative ones, they will teach faster than any lecture ever will. Let's talk for a moment about jobs. This one's a real hot topic because over the past 50 years, there has been a gradual yet substantial decline in the number of young people that work. Back in the 70s, about 75% of individuals aged 18 to 15, or maybe I should say that the other way, 15 to 18 years of age, about 75% of them worked. Now that number is less than a third. We came from a culture of teaching multitasking and allowing our children to learn how to work at school, at home, and in a workplace, and then we stopped. So for those of you that are allowing your children to work, let's talk about that, because that can be a very tricky situation. A teenager gets a job and then those grades slip. It's inevitable. They're learning something new. The knee-jerk reaction is quit. Your grades are slipping, quit. But what if instead of quitting, we taught negotiation? What if we said, hey, let's talk to your manager. Let's reduce your hours. Let's practice communicating your priorities. Because guess what? At 35, when your family is in crisis, you don't quit your job. You negotiate. You contact your manager, contact the HR department, and you ask for flexibility. You communicate, you advocate. So why wait until adulthood to teach that? Let me tell you a story. When I was a junior in high school, I wanted to join drill team. You know, the line dancer, kicker girls. And if you're in the South, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So it was $1,000 to join drill team. Mind you, this was over 20 years ago. Now that's almost double today. And in my teenage brain, I was thinking, everybody else's parents are paying for this. Why can't you just pay for mine? My mom said, you can do drill team, but you're going to pay me back. Excuse me? Pay you back? For something I live in this house that I didn't even ask to be born into, and now I have the desire to do drill team and you're going to make me pay for it? The audacity. But she had me sign a promissory note, a real one. I had to pay her back in installments from my part-time job. And at first I was disappointed, but then something shifted. There was a sense of pride in making those payments. There was ownership in participating. There was discipline in budgeting. As a teenager, the only thing I really had to pay for was small stuff, like gas for my car or if I went out to eat. And I know some of you parents are freaking out right now. A 16-year-old who has to pay for gas or a cell phone bill. I mean, come on, mom, dad, you just bought a whole freaking car or the iPhone Infinity. They can't pay to use it. Some of you have 23-year-olds that go out drinking but can't pay a light bill. You know, it's hard to pour a shot if the lights are out. But imagine for a moment if the only thing on your financial plate was manageable because all of your other living expenses were covered and you just had one bill. This is the equivalent. And that experience was training. I am glad I learned that lesson then instead of later on in life when mismanaging my money would mean that I don't get to eat. That lesson was accountability with love and setting me up for future financial success. So when your teen works, let them budget, save, mess up in a safe way and in a safe space. Let them learn about taxes, understand deposits, loans. and all of those things that are going to come hitting us like a tsunami. Because I've seen too many adults whose first financial lesson was trauma. I worked at a bank for years in a college town. I have tons of stories. Don't let your kids become another case study. We can give our kids financial literacy without financial catastrophe. Now let's talk about the one that makes everyone nervous. Deep breath. Dating. Yes, I'm talking about your baby liking someone, your baby holding hands, your baby thinking that they're in love. Deep breaths now. Come on, just relax. Because children experience natural romantic and sexual curiosity. That's biology. What we can teach from that experience of puppy love is self-respect, boundaries, consent, what healthy love looks like, so that they don't lose themselves the first time someone makes them feel special. Now, stay with me. Don't shy away from the concept. Hear me out. Dating really is a big deal. Picking the right partner affects your life just as much as picking the right career. And what if we can coach them early? That ripple effect goes into future generations. It drives who they start sharing their finances with, who they start sharing children with, who they allow in their inner circle. It's just as critical as the friendships that they make, if not more so. Parenting young adults is a tightrope. Too strict, and they'll hide away from you. Too loose, and they'll still drift. The sweet spot is guided independence. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to protect them the best way that you know how. You're here to give them tools such as language, confidence, and accountability. And sometimes let them stumble. Not into catastrophe, but into learning. Because one day they will adult without you. And the question won't be, did I protect them from everything? The question will be, did I prepare them for anything? Anything I could think of? Did I try? If this resonated with you, share this episode with your teen or young adult and ask them, what does independence mean to you? What scares you about adulthood? Where do you feel like you want more responsibility? And where are you already feeling confident? Let's start this conversation, because adulting isn't something that just magically happens at 18. It's practice. And accountability isn't punishment. It's not abandoning your responsibility as a parent. It's preparation for the real world. Thanks for tuning into Plot Twist. If this story made you pause, reflect, or smile, please share it with someone who's in the middle of their own plot twist. You can catch more episodes on Spotify, YouTube, and connect with me on my socials. Until next time, keep writing your own story.